Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. To finish the first week of 2024, we bring live commentary from the Serie A as Jose Mourinho's Roma side take on Atalanta, who are just 1 point above Roma in the table. For Roma, they have only lost one of their 9 home league games so far this season, which was back at the start of September against current third place side AC Milan. But recent Serie A form has been slightly shaky, as it's 2 defeats from their last 3, with Jose Mourinho's team sitting 8th in the table, but 3 points tonight would lift them up to 6th. And Atalanta are led by their head coach, Gian Piero Gasperini, who is 5 years older than Jose Mourinho at 65 and has been at the club since 2016. And after 3 third place finishes in a row from 2018 to 2021, the last 2 seasons have seen Atalanta not finish inside the top 4. A win for Atalanta would put them 1 point off 4th place Fiorentina. And it was a league double as well for Atalanta last season against Roma, with it was their first league double against them since the 2019-2020 season, where the away side today beat Roma 1-0 at the Stadio Olimpico with a 35th minute goal, which was assisted by Rasmus Højlund. So, for the 110th meeting between these two sides since 1929, which team will take a big step towards the top 4 in Serie A? It is a very, very tight race between plenty of teams for that 4th spot. From Fiorentina in 4th to Torino in 10th, there is a gap of 6 points. So, that is a huge amount of teams chasing one position, and that is for Champions League football next season. Roma will be absolutely desperate for Champions League football under Jose Mourinho. They have failed the previous 2 seasons under Jose Mourinho, finishing 6th in both seasons. And for Atalanta, as I've said, they've had 2 off campaigns in recent seasons. Last season they were able to finish 5th, which got them into the Europa League, but the season before that they had finished 8th. So there was no Europe for them last season to focus on, so they were able to get into 5th position, a position above Roma, and they were a point above Roma as well last season, as Jose Mourinho's side finished 6th, which got them into Europa League football as well after they reached the final last season. But if Juventus hadn't have got their deducted points, Roma would have finished 7th and they would have gone into the Conference League. So due to Juventus and their deduction of points, Roma were able to get back into the Europa League. Obviously, they have already won the Conference League under Mourinho. That was his first trophy and only trophy at Roma so far. But we know Jose Mourinho in this league has been very successful. He's got 2 Serie A titles back to back when he was at Inter Milan. It's not quite worked as he probably would have wanted to at Roma in terms of in the league. Obviously, winning that Conference League trophy and getting another European trophy into his cabinet was a huge success, but I definitely think it'll be bugging him a little bit that he hasn't got that top 4 finish yet, and they are, like I say, right behind 4th place Fiorentina. If Roma win tonight, they'd be 2 points behind the top 4, so it's very close. They're not far away, but they just got to keep trying chipping away at these teams and continue their great home form. I mentioned it before, but it's 1 loss in their 9 at home so far this season in the league. That includes 6 victories, their latest coming against Napoli, which was commentated on this channel. It was a 2-0 win. Napoli had 2 players sent off as well in Politano and Osimhen, and that was a really strong performance from Roma. They were definitely the better side, and yes, they took the lead after Napoli went down to 10 and they got their second once they were down to 9. But I think on the balance of that game, Roma deserved the 3 points. And obviously they were very much helped by the 2 sendings off from Napoli. But kick-off for this one will just be over 5 minutes away, as both of these sides come into this game as well off the back of cup victories in the week. In the Coppa Italia, they are both now in the quarter-finals, but they won't be facing each other. Their next games are the cup games, and for Roma, they have got Lazio in the cup. They are classed as the away team, but Lazio and Roma share their stadium, so it'll pretty much be a home tie for both of them. And that is the Derby della Capitale. That is what the derby's called between Roma and Lazio. Obviously, sharing a stadium, it's a very fierce rivalry. And the fact that they meet in the quarterfinals of the Cup which is scheduled to be played in the week next week. That will be a very exciting fixture. And for Atalanta, they will face AC Milan at the San Siro in the Coppa Italia quarter-final, which is, I think, a draw that they'll probably, fancy themselves winning. AC Milan are only third at the minute in the table. They're 9 points off Inter Milan, who are top, and they're on 39 points. AC Milan and Atalanta at the minute are on 29, and they could go up to 32, so they're not too far away from each other. And I think Atalanta will definitely fancy their chances in that quarter-final. They have been runners-up in the Coppa Italia twice under their head coach, Gian Piero Gasperini, in 2019 and 2021, and it'll be definitely something that Atalanta will want to win. They haven't won much in their career. They have won one Italian Cup back in 1963, so they'll definitely want to add some more silverware to their cabinet, and they'll hope to get beyond AC Milan, but it won't be an easy game against AC Milan, as they've won this weekend away from home. I think it was 3-0 in the end they won. So it does seem like all the teams in the top three have won. Inter Milan won against Verona very dramatically, late goals there and late penalty misses. Juventus got a late winner as well. Just watching that before, they scored in the 90th minute through Vlahovic. And AC Milan, they won away from home. And I think Fiorentina also won away from home as well this weekend. No, they actually lost Fiorentina. They lost against Sassuolo 1-0. So it does open that little chance to close in on top four. And Bologna also dropped points as well. They're in fifth. Bologna drew this weekend on the Friday night against Genoa. So fourth and fifth have dropped points. So this is a perfect opportunity for Roma and Atalanta to really, gain on the teams above them, which they need to do. They can't be letting points slip, and they can't be falling behind, as both teams are out for the start of this game, as they are both lined up, the two sets of players, and we'll go through both sets of teams. And now we'll start with the home side, and that is Roma, and it's going to be goalkeeper Rui Patricio in goal. Back three of Rasmus Christensen, who is on loan from Leeds, Diego Llorente, who's also on loan from Leeds, and number 23 Gianluca Mancini returns after missing the cup game injured in the week. He's back to make his 200th appearance for Roma, and he completes the back three. The right wing back is going to be Rick Karsdorp. On the left, it's going to be Nikola Zalewski, and the two central midfielders will be Brian Cristante and Eduardo Bove, who made his 50th Serie A appearance last week against Juventus in their 1-0 away loss. And then the front three, it's a very, very skillful front three. Paulo Dybala is back in. He'd missed the last three games. He's got 2 goals, in his last three before a hamstring injury, which has kept him out for a couple of games. Dybala is now back in. Pellegrini comes in, who scored the first goal in their 2-0 win against Napoli in their last home game in the league. That was from off the bench, and leading the line up front is going to be number 90, Romelu Lukaku, who is on loan from Chelsea, and he has just got the one goal against Atalanta previously, and that came last season in a 3-2 win at Inter Milan. For Atalanta, it is in goal, it is Marco Carnesecchi, who has been at the club since 2017, and this is his 10th appearance of the season. A back three of Giorgio Scalvini, who scored the only goal in this game last season at the Stadio Olimpico in the 1-0 win for Atalanta, who play alongside Berat Jimsiti and Sed Kolasinac in the back three for Atalanta. On the right wing back is going to be Emil Holm. On the left is Matteo Ruggieri. Two central midfielders of captain Martin de Roon and Ederson, and then three up front is Toon Koopmeiners, Charles de Ketelaere and Alexei Miranchuk. They are the two starting 11s for tonight's game, as we're about to get underway at the Stadio Olimpico. Should I trade my Kvara for Scamacca? I don't really know what that means, but there is Scamacca is on the bench, who was signed in the summer from West Ham, £27 million. Scamacca returning to Italy after a bit of a failed spell at West Ham last year, scoring 3 Premier League goals, and he didn't make an appearance for West Ham in the Premier League until from January onwards. So he's back in Italy. He's on the bench, as it will be the referee tonight, Gianluca Aureliano, as it'll be Atalanta kicking left to right, Roma right to left, as it's Atalanta to get us underway. It's with number 42 Scalvini to right wing back, Holm inside his own half on this near side. There's a ball around the corner from Moran Shut, looks up front, cleared by Christensen. It's up to Dybala on the halfway line. He tries to twist and turn away from the Atalanta midfield, but he's dispossessed. But then it's won back by Christensen, who clears it long up the field for Roma, brought down by Lukaku into Dybala. On this near side is Zalewski. Midway side, the Atalanta half. Pokes it back to the halfway line to Lorenzi. Then into the Roma half we go with Mancini. That's a football speaking. To be fair, I don't play Italian fantasy football, but Napoli obviously lost again today, actually. They're ninth in the table. Napoli is quite the downfall. So maybe not having Napoli players might be a good move. Here's Pellegrini. Nice 1-2 with Lukaku. He's bursting away here, Lorenzo Pellegrini. He's trying to find the run of Lukaku in the area. Cut out by Atalanta. They need to try and clear it here with Koopmeiners. Goes forward up towards halfway. There's a challenge off the ball on number 17, De Ketelaere. But the referee does not see that as a foul, so Roma can continue on the ball. Midway inside their own half here with Mancini. He goes to his right here to Christensen. And then back across here to Mancini. Forward towards Pellegrini. A big push in the back there by, I think that was Scalvini. And Pellegrini's holding his lower back. Bit of a late one there by Giorgio Scalvini. Definitely making sure Lorenzo Pellegrini couldn't turn or stay on the ball there. As we're under 2 minutes in here, still 0-0. Roma have been the side with the possession for the opening exchanges of this game, as they are unbeaten in their last 7 at home. Roma did lose last week away at Juventus 1-0, a Rabiot goal for Juventus, who are currently second in the table, 2 points off top. But just got a bit of a stoppage here for Pellegrini, who's just receiving some treatment here for that foul from Scalvini. Seems like he's hurt the Roma captain, Roma-born captain as well. Made 2 appearances for Italy in 2023. Pellegrini, one of them coming against England, and the other one against the Netherlands. He's got 2 goals against Atalanta in his career. Pellegrini, and one of them was in their last meeting. It was at Atalanta, where the away side tonight won by 3-1. That was back in the end of April. Pasalic, Toloi and Koopmeiners with the goals in that one, and it was part of Roma's bad end to the season last year. They had a really, really poor end to the season. They just fell off completely, unfortunately. Jose Mourinho's side, they only picked up 1 win in their last 8 games in the league, and their win that they picked up was on the last day against Spezia. They'd drawn 4 and lost 3, which really derailed their Champions League run, and hence why they ended up finishing 6th in the table. And Pellegrini is showing his frustration there, smacking the floor, because his game might be short-lived. The captain might have to make way. He is back to his feet. It was just a little push in the back there by Scalvini, but it obviously had a negative effect on Pellegrini, as he's still walking off, holding his lower back. So we'll have to see if he'll be able to continue. So we've already had a stoppage in the game for Roma's captain, Pellegrini. So it'll be a Roma free kick, about 15 yards away from halfway. And Cristante, the central midfielder, is stood over it. As we are back underway, Pellegrini's just on the near side. I think he'll try it and continue, but we'll have to see how long he lasts. He is back on the field, the captain. Atalanta are back on the ball, just midway inside their own half here, with the right centre-back, Scalvini. Goes into midfield to Ederson. Forward the ball goes, but they've lost it here with the number 59, Moran Shuk, but Roma can't make it stick with Lukaku up front, and it'll be back with Atalanta with Scalvini once again, back into the goalkeeper, Carnesecchi, the 23-year-old goalkeeper. Kicks the ball forward, laid out to the left-hand side by De Ketelaere. Can't find an Atalanta player on the left-hand side, and it's now with Roma. Just inside the Atalanta half, they go back onto the halfway line here with Mancini. To the right is Christensen. Ball over the top, looking for Karsdorp, who had made a run from wing back into the 18-yard area, but Carnesecchi was out of his goal quickly to collect that ball, and it's Atalanta again to play from the back down the right-hand side on this near side. Miranchuk, his pass back goes straight to Lukaku, lays it off for Dybala, edge of the area, tries to slot it through back towards Lukaku. Carnesecchi, strong goalkeeping. Referee blows the whistle as Carnesecchi stayed down. Huge chance for Roma. Really poor pass backwards there by Miranchuk, and it fell straight to Roma. And it was to Lukaku, who quickly played it into Dybala. Lukaku made a run to his right. He nearly got it through to Lukaku, but he just deflected off a Roma defender. So it went closer to the goalkeeper, who came out really strong, Carnesecchi there, to block the Lukaku strike, who just tried to poke at it. Really strong goalkeeping from the number 29. What do you think about Gasperini moving De Ketelaere into a second position? He played really well in the Coppa Italia, but how can he manage all the strikers? Yeah, I realised that when I was researching the game. Obviously, you've got Miranchuk, who can play like an attacking midfield, but he can play up front as well. De Ketelaere as well. He scored 2 in the cup win against Sassuolo in the week. So then he wants to give him a chance as well. And then you've got Muriel on the bench, Skamaka, you've got Lookman, who's had to depart for a month or so for the African Cup of Nations. So you have lost a striker in Lookman, who is Atalanta's top goal scorer this year with 7 goals, one of them away from home against Fiorentina in September. But I don't think it's a bad thing to have options, but sometimes you need to find a balance of what works. Is Atalanta cross, and the header's in. Miranchuk on the near side crosses into the area. And it's the main man, Tup Koopmeiners, with the header beyond Rui Patricio. It's Atalanta's first chance of the game, and they've taken it. It's the Dutchman who's got goals now in back-to-back games against Roma. He scored in that 3-1 win back in April of last year. Now he scored again. It's a fantastic delivery by Miranchuk with his left foot, curling it towards goal. It was inviting for Koopmeiners, who got up beyond Karsdorp, and around 6 yards out, the header had height. It went over the outstretched arm of Patricio, rattling the back of the net. And after a more positive start for Roma, it's Atalanta who take a lead. It's 1-0. Literally the first attempt for Atalanta, and they've managed to get it in the back of the net. He's so good, Koopmeiners. He was linked in the summer to Aston Villa to make a move into the Premier League, and he scored a fantastic 10 goals last season, Koopmeiners. That's his 4th of this season in the league. His last came against Empoli in late October. Now he's got one at the Stadio Olimpico. Scalvini gets the ball off Pellegrini, plays it forward here towards Koopmeiners, who's dispossessed by Christensen. And the ball's played forward by Karsdorp to Pellegrini on halfway. Finds Lukaku. Out wide right, looking for Pellegrini, who gets the touch there ahead of Kolasinac. And he'll roll through to Dybala in a right-wing position. Nutmeg Scalvini. Dybala beyond another. And can't quite keep it away from Scalvini, but it deflects to Karsdorp, whose cross is blocked, and it will bounce away for a throw-in. It's trying to be seen out by Karsdorp, who goes over on the challenge. And it will be a throw-in in the end. Thrown back quickly to Christensen, who crosses it. Pellegrini heads it on. It's a looper onto the roof of the net. Close there from Pellegrini. The header was from quite far out there as well. But Dybala with a nice bit of skill, nutmegging Scalvini. And then trying to get away from Kolasinac. And Pellegrini's header looping over the crossbar. Atalanta definitely qualifying for Champions League this year. Like I say, I've said it before, they haven't qualified for the Champions League for the last 2 seasons after qualifying for the last 3 before that in a row, finishing 3rd place. But this win, if they keep hold of the 3 points, will put them 1 point behind Fiorentina, who are taking up that last Champions League position at the moment. And it's Atalanta on the halfway line with their central midfielder Ederson dispossessed really well by Cristante, who's charging down the Roma right. Heavy touch around the defender. Can he get there ahead of Kolasinac? No, he can't. Good slide challenge from the former Arsenal defender, and it's a throw-in the final third on the far side for Roma. Taken quickly by Karsdorp into Dybala, who goes backwards here to Christensen. Bove turns forward, plays it into Lukaku, who's got his back to goal, feeds it to the right wing, and it's Karsdorp from wing back. Goes back into Dybala, who's just slightly deeper with possession. Cristante forward to Lukaku. Touch goes towards Dybala, keeps it away from Moranchuk. And it eventually deflects out to the Roma right here to Karsdorp. And it's the home side back in possession as they trail early. Pellegrini towards Dybala. Deflects backwards, it finds Bove in the centre circle. As Atalanta have had a poor away record so far this season. 3 wins on the road, their last in October against Empoli. In the last game that Koopmeiners scored in the Serie A, and he's scored already for Atalanta, an early header from the Dutchman. Fantastic delivery by Moranchuk as Roma lose the possession on halfway. It's helped forward by Darun. De Ketelaere gets onto it and he charges down the left-hand side. Christensen comes over to tackle him and he can't quite keep it in. It's a throwing for Atalanta on the far side in the final third. Good defending there by Erasmus Christensen. Won the Austrian league title 3 times with RB Salzburg. Christensen. It's Ruggieri for Atalanta in that left wing back position. They go back to Ederson. Across here to Scalvini, number 42 for Atalanta. Goes down the line, looking for Moranchuk, who's battling there with Llorente, and the Spaniard wins it fairly according to the referee. And in the left back position, Roma have it with Zalewski. To the right to Cristante, forward to Dybala, backwards to Pellegrini, then back forward towards Lukaku. Misplaced pass, well intercepted on halfway by Kolasinac. And it's now back with Atalanta. Ball through by Ederson, down the right channel for De Ketelaere, who tries to take on Mancini, runs out of room on the byline. And Roma win it back. They go across goal, trying to find Christensen who can clear it, but then Kolasinac wins it back, lifts it forward, and then headed away by Roma. As far as Ederson for Atalanta to Moranchuk on the edge of the area. Out wide right to Holm, who takes the touch, can get the cross in. It's a looper. It's headed away by Mancini, controlled by Darun. And Atalanta stay in possession on the halfway line. It's with number 19, Berat Jimsiti, the Albanian centre-half. It's now with the number 22, Matteo Ruggieri. It's now with the goalkeeper, Carnesecchi, to right-hand side to Jimsiti. It's now Darun in a right wing-back position here, the number 15 for Atalanta. Goes back here to Jimsiti, who can't clear it before it goes out of play, and it's a throw for Roma on this near side, very deep into the Atalanta half. It's with their number 59 on left wing back, Nikola Zalewski, who's making his 90th Roma appearance tonight. The 21-year-old who's got his birthday coming up on the 23rd of January. As he throws it into the 18-yard box, laid off by Cristante towards Lukaku. Cleared into the air by Koopmeiners. Cristante heads it inside, blocked by Ederson. Played forward for Atalanta by Holm, and then eventually volleyed away for Atalanta through Scalvini. Goes up towards De Ketelaere, who challenges with Mancini, and the foul goes against the Atalanta striker, and it'll be taken quickly into Rasmus Christensen for Roma to keep the ball moving. But they had a poor start to the season, Roma. They were 18th in the league after 3 games, but they have been able to pick the form up and just have themselves in the European spots at the minute, as Dybala was found in the Atalanta half, but he was coming back from an offside position, and that'll be a free kick for the away side, who've not been in the top 4 Atalanta since late October, which shows that their form hasn't been great. They have only got 3 wins in their last 8 Serie A games, and all those 3 wins have been at home. As Atalanta have it on halfway with Ruggieri from left wing back, goes across to the right to Ederson in the centre circle. Curls it out to the near side. Holm takes the touch nicely into the space. In the final third, tries the cross towards the near post. Blocks by Llorente. Corner kick for Atalanta. Good run in there down the right-hand side by Emil Holm, who is on loan from Spezia for the season. It's only his 2nd start in the league for Atalanta, the number 3 on that right-hand side. His first start and only start in the league came back in late September against Verona. But he's in tonight ahead of Davide Zappacosta. Whereas Atalanta cross the ball in towards the far post. It bounces and it's eventually cleared by Llorente. Straight out towards the halfway line here to Atalanta's goal scorer, Koopmeiners. Now Dirun out to the right wing to Miranchuk, who recycles the ball back in the box. It's a curler. It's a header won by Roma through Christensen. It'll be picked up by Dybala towards the corner flag. He's been knocked to the ground, and it's a fair challenge according to the referee. Scalvini continues to run with the ball. It's in the box. There's a shot that's blocked and out for another corner. Blocked by Mancini there. I think the shot was taken by centre-half Jim City, who had obviously stayed forward from the original corner from that move. Doesn't score many goals, but at Jim City, just the 4 goals in Serie A in his career. This is his 197th appearance. There'll be an outswinger from Atalanta, nearly volleyed by De Ketelaere, but it just goes away from the Belgian's left foot, and it'll be cleared for Roma into the Atalanta half through Koopmeiners. As I think the referee's blown his whistle here. There's an Atalanta player down. Don't think he's given a foul, but an Atalanta player's gone down after that corner. It's said Kolasinac, the Bosnian defender. I thought the ball went in, and it was just off the ball in the 6-yard area. I don't think there was much in that, to be honest. As Kolasinac joined this season from Marseille on a free transfer. As Atalanta are going to have the ball drop back to them just inside their own half here with right centre-back Scalvini. He's now back with the goalkeeper, Carnesecchi. And with his left foot, plays a low ball forward. It's a risky one, but it works. Holm, who had come inside from wing-back into the midfield, loses it with the ball, and Lukaku's played through, and it's just overhit. Carnesecchi out of his goal quickly to come and collect the ball to take it away from the feet of Lukaku. His Atalanta get out to the left-hand side. It's Koopmeiners. Still inside their own half. He's been followed by Christensen. He plays it down the line towards De Ketelaere, who backheels it into the space of Dirun. Great move from Atalanta. Dirun, can he get away from Bove? No, he can't. Good midfield play from the Roma man. And Cristante gets it forward to Lukaku on the halfway line. He's got Jim City on his back, but he moves it out to the left to Zalewski. Good hold-up play from Lukaku. And it's Roma on the ball. Cristante, great ball through to Dybala, who dummies it for Lukaku. Back into Dybala. Lukaku again. Outside the box, he strikes with his right foot, and it deflects for a corner, but I think the flag's up for offside in that move. Great ball from Cristante, and as Dybala dummied it for Lukaku, Lukaku is in an offside position, unfortunately, for Roma. So it does mean that Atalanta will have a free kick. Did score the winner in the cup in the week, Paulo Dybala from the penalty spot with 5 minutes to play. And they need him tonight. As Miranchuk for Atalanta loses possession, forward by Cristante. Lukaku out wide left to Zalewski in the final third, just outside the area. He can work a left-footed cross, headed away by Jim City. Back to Zalewski, who's then tackled with a slight challenge through Miranchuk. The referee likes the tackle, and it can be play to continue with Atalanta getting out to the left to Koopmeiners. Goes back here to Ruggieri. He's got loads of time, and he plays it into the captain, Dirun. And play will slow down here as play is then stopped as Roma have a man down. Atalanta are the ones to kick the ball out of play. It's Zalewski who stayed down there after getting that crunching challenge by Miranchuk, which seemed to be a fair one in all honesty. It didn't look like a foul to me on the Roma number 59. But obviously he's hurt his right leg here, the Polish international. Was born in Italy, Nikola Zalewski, but he does have Polish parents. He's got 14 appearances for his country. But they're just showing that goal again in the 6th minute for Koopmeiners. It's a really good cross from the right-hand side by Miranchuk, who himself's only got the 1 goal in the league so far this season. He did score and assist in the week, Miranchuk, in the cup game they played against Sassuolo. And he's given every reason why he should be starting more Serie A games with that cross. And it was a well-taken header by Koopmeiners, who gets his 4th of the season. And we're back underway here with Atalanta on the ball with their goalkeeper. Zalewski's back to his feet. On this near side with Scalvini. Central midfielder Ederson goes back into his 18-yard box to Jim City. Goes across to his left ear to Carnesecchi, who with his right boot plays a high ball up towards the halfway line. It's volleyed away by Mancini. Controlled by Pellegrini. Midway inside the Atalanta half. He plays out to the left wing here to Zalewski, who's one-on-one with Holm. Goes on the inside. Plays a pass forward to Pellegrini. In the final third, outside the 18-yard area, on this near side, he dribbles away from Scalvini, the Roma captain. Looking for options. He's running out of room here, and he's eventually tackled by Scalvini, who pokes it down the line here for Miranchuk. He's looking out towards the Atalanta left. He's tackled fairly and strongly by Mancini, and he plays it to Lukaku. Touch from Lukaku, and the shot, and it's the save from Carnesecchi with his feet. And that'll be a corner on the far side for Roma. Really well won there by Mancini, who we know is a very aggressive defender. The number 23. 4 red cards in his Roma career. And he quickly got it through to Lukaku. On his weaker foot, was able to strike it. Didn't quite catch it sweetly, so it wasn't a powerful attempt for Carnesecchi to deal with. But he has got a corner to deal with, and it's Dybala to take it low. Flicked on by Llorente. Deflected out by an Atalanta player. Back with Dybala, who tries the cross again. It deflects onto the goalkeeper's hands. Parried away. Still alive in the area. Headed away by Holm for Atalanta. Definitely deflected onto the goalkeeper from an Atalanta player there. Nearly an own goal. I think it was from Ederson, the central midfielder. He nearly diverted it into his own goal. It's on the halfway line on the far side. It's the right wing back Karsdorp for Roma. As Atalanta push up the field here. After Cristante in the midfield, pickpocketed, ball play through to Ketelara in the area, can strike it, and that's a really good save. Patricio comes out, makes himself as big as possible, and stops Charles de Ketelara scoring. His 3rd of the season. Poor giveaway from Cristante in the midfield, especially in his own half, and Patricio was just able to save the ball with his right arm. As it was Ederson from the Dybala cross who stuck his foot out, and it was a good reaction saved by Carnesecchi in the end. As obviously it changed the trajectory of that Dybala cross, but it's now Atalanta with their own corner on the far side. It's going to be the left foot of Miranchuk. He's already got 1 assist tonight. He crosses it. It's an outswinger. It's a header won by Lukaku to the edge of the area, where Atalanta go back here to Koopmeiners. Then to the left to Ruggieri. Forward, still on the left flank. It's Miranchuk to try the cross again. It's a low one, and it bounces in front of Christensen, who meets it with a right-footed clearance. It's a bit of a slicer, so it goes behind for another corner. I might definitely make some commentaries. It's great. Always something. Thank you very much. Always try and mix up the games. Try all different kinds of leagues. We have got another commentary coming tomorrow on Monday night. It's 8:15 kick-off. Bit of a later one, but it's Wigan Athletic against Manchester United. There's Miranchuk again. It's a low one. It's flicked on by Kolasinac, and the ball was available in the 6-yard area, but it was Patricio to have the ball in his hands. Not a bad ball. Kolasinac with the flick, and it came off Lukaku back to his own goalkeeper. Scalvini was in there trying to poke the ball home. Roma to play out from the back, down their left-hand side with Zalewski, right in front of Jose Mourinho in the technical area, and he goes back to Patricio. Now right centre half Christensen to the right wing back Karsdorp, back into Christensen again, who finds Cristante, nods it forward to Bove, finds Lukaku on the halfway line, keeps it away from the Atalanta midfield. Dybala running across the field and switching the ball out to the left to Zalewski, perfectly weighted, fantastic chested touch. Zalewski in the area, one-on-one with Holm, goes on the outside and tries the cross, but it's blocked by Holm, and that will be a corner in the end. Good play from Roma. It was a really nice ball switched out by Dybala to find Zalewski. And he killed the ball dead with that chested touch. But Emil Holm did well there to block that cut back into the area. As it will be a right-footed in-swinger from the number 7, Lorenzo Pellegrini. He's making only his 7th start in the league this season, the captain. They need him now to deliver a rewarding cross. He puts the ball in. It's a deeper one towards the far post where it's headed forward by Christensen. And it's out for a goal kick. The Danish defender there for Roma wants a corner. Let's have a look. He went up for it with Scalvini. I think the last touch came. I think it actually came off the shoulder of Christensen. I don't think he even met it with his header. With his head, sorry. And Jose Mourinho and some of the Roma players were asking for that corner, but it wasn't given in the end. It's a goal kick for Atalanta. And I was actually looking at average attendances in the Serie A. And Atalanta have the 16th highest in the league, which, you know, is... I find that really low for a team of such quality. You know, 20 teams in the league and they are 16th in the average attendances. With they've got this season 14,790. The stadium holds just over 21,000, so that does result in empty seats. And Roma have got the third highest average attendance with 61,177. So Atalanta not usually playing in front of huge crowds week in, week out, especially when they're at home. And they've obviously they've got a decent little travelling support. I can just see there in the corner of the ground. It's a huge trip, by the way, for Atalanta fans. To drive from the Atalanta Stadium to the Stadio Olimpico, it's 6 hours on the roads. Obviously, I'm hoping that some of them would have got the train, but it is north and south, this fixture, very much so. So whoever is here in an Atalanta support, they've travelled far, and they've got rewards for their travelling at the moment with a 1-0 lead at the Stadio Olimpico. There's Roma on the ball in their 18-yard area with goalkeeper Patricio, who will play the ball long into the Atalanta half. Header won by Kolasinac, really strong header. And Miranchuk will chase this out to the Atalanta right, last touch off Diego Llorente. And he wins the throw-in for his side. Towards the final third here, it'll be the right wing-back Emil Holm to take the throw-in. And he'll throw it backwards to Scalvini, back to Holm, who just miscontrols the ball, and it can be won back by Zalewski. And then it's Mancini to take it away, but there was some pulling from Roma during the win-back of possession. And it'll be a free kick for Atalanta. Miranchuk tried to get past Llorente and he was just pulling him back. Yeah, grabs his shirt. I don't know what he expects there, Diego Llorente. It's quite an obvious free kick there, really. And it's a similar area on the right wing where Miranchuk crossed the ball for the goal for Koopmeiners. It's quite a similar area. And I've not watched much of Alexei Miranchuk, but just from watching him for the opening 27.5 minutes, he's got a wicked left foot. And he can swing this in towards goal. And they can ask Roma some questions here. And it'll be Miranchuk to cross it. And it's headed on by Ederson. And it hits the roof of the net. The Brazilian, who is a former under-20 international for his country, heads that over the crossbar. It was another wicked cross. It had pace and it had curl, but couldn't be diverted home by Ederson. The 24-year-old midfielder who's making his fourth start now against AS Roma in his career. But it'll be the home side to build out from the back, who lost the Europa League final last season on penalties to Sevilla. They took the lead through Dybala. And then an own goal caused Sevilla to get back in the game as Pellegrini's taken out in his own half. And it'll be a yellow card there. He's had that coming. Giorgio Scalvini, the right centre-half for Atalanta, who's actually of interest of Manchester United for £51 million. Obviously, they've signed Højlund from Atalanta for £72 million in the summer. But he's just following Pellegrini into the Roma half. And Pellegrini gets there first. Takes the ball away from Scalvini, who then goes through the man. And he picks up a booking, the centre-half for Atalanta. But it's not the first time he's fouled Pellegrini. He fouled Pellegrini within the first 2 minutes, which led to a little pause in the game as he had to receive some treatment. So it's a yellow card for him, and it's Roma midway inside their own half on the ball with Mancini. Across to the right to Christensen. Forward it goes. Can't find Lukaku. Picked up in the centre circle by Scalvini. It's now with Holm at right centre half. Down the right hand side for Miranchuk, who keeps the ball away from Llorente. Miranchuk also plays off a bit of skill to get away from Pellegrini. And it will be Atalanta to keep the ball inside the Roma half for the moment. Go back to the halfway line to Jim City. And to the right to Scalvini. who lifts a ball down the right channel. De Ketelaere will chase it. Will he keep it in? No, he can't. It'll be seen behind for a goal kick there for Roma. Couldn't quite keep it in. De Ketelaere, who is on loan at the moment from AC Milan for the season. Joined AC Milan last summer for €35 million from Club Bruges, but he didn't manage to score any goals for AC Milan last season. He's got the 2 this season in the Serie A for Atalanta. He's got 6 in all competitions, so definitely a better season in Italian football for De Ketelaere this season. As it's Atalanta to win the ball back on halfway with De Roon. Down the left-hand side to Koopmeiners. First time pass. Loose ball in the end, and it's picked up by Dybala as he pokes it back to Mancini in the defence for Roma. Mancini lifts the ball up towards Lukaku, goes over his head and through and into the feet of Atalanta goalkeeper Carnesecchi, who's been on loan at Cremonese for the last 2 years. And he beat Roma last season at Cremonese. A 2-1 win last season. So it's Roma now on the ball, on the halfway line with Cristante. He goes back to Mancini. Some pressing there from Ederson, making Roma move the ball quickly. As Mancini forward, halfway line. Pellegrini goes back to the Atalanta goal. He finds the left centre half of Diego Llorente, who just about keeps it in on this near side and plays a high ball forward over the top of the defence. Lukaku's charging it. Carnesecchi will volley outside his area and it will go towards Koopmeiners. He's tackled by Christensen on halfway. Roma can attack with Dybala. He's looking out to the Roma left and he'll play it into the path of Zalewski, who's isolated here with Atalanta wing back home. He'll go on the outside of him. He'll try and do him for pace, but he overruns the touch and it goes out of play for a goal kick. Just asked too much of himself there, Zalewski, with that touch around the defender. Didn't have the pace to meet the touch and get the cross in the box. But you can definitely see how important Paulo Dybala is to this Roma side. He is just a cut above the rest of the players. He's just got that clear added ability. And he's got 3 goals in 21 games against Atalanta. Dybala, it's not the greatest of records. His last against today's opposition came back in November 2019 when he was a Juventus player. As Atalanta on the near side have the ball with Miranchuk, back to home. Inside their own half is Scalvini, goes for the ball into the centre circle, header away by Christensen, flicked on by Bove, gets the return from Dybala. Bove, Dybala again, Cristante, well kept for Roma, as everyone's behind the ball for Atalanta, bar the striker, De Ketelaere. Lukaku, first time touch to Dybala, through to Pellegrini, back to Dybala, goes away from him but deflects back towards Dybala, and eventually drops into the hands of Carnesecchi. Good ball into Lukaku, and it was a better touch into Dybala, who found Pellegrini, tried to return it back to Dybala. It just went away from him, and it was deflected back towards him from Ruggieri, the Atalanta fullback. And before it got to Dybala, it was actually headed by Kolasinac into his goalkeeper's hands. It was a vital header from Kolasinac there, because that first deflection was aiming towards Dybala, who had an empty goal to aim for if the ball had reached him. Still 0-0 here. 3 wins for Roma in their last 5. Those 2 losses have come against teams who are in the top 5 against Juventus and Bologna, both away from home. And 4 wins in their last 5 for Atalanta as well in all competitions. Their loss also coming against Bologna, as Dybala puts a cross in here towards the far post, header away by Kolasinac. It'll drop out to the right wing here to Pellegrini, who will cross it early. It deflects towards the near post to Bove, who strikes. And it's another good save at the near post by Carnesecchi, who is having a very confident goalkeeping performance. Roma was fortunate with that deflected cross, because it meant it went straight into the path of Bove, whose shot was well saved by Carnesecchi. As Atalanta playing out from the back, they lose it with Cristante, who heads it forward to Lukaku, who's drifted out to the left wing. He loses it though to Scalvini, who touches the ball last off Cristante, and it'll be a throw-in on halfway for Atalanta, with Emil Holm, the number 3 Swedish wing-back. The number 3, like I say, on loan from Spezia. Atalanta ball forward by De Roon, down the left channel, can't be kept by Koopmeiners. One back for Roma through Christensen. Now Cristante Forward to Pellegrini. Out to the left to Zalewski. Just goes behind him. And we're on halfway with Cristante. All Atalanta players are now behind the ball as he lifts the ball forward down to the left channel towards Lukaku, who won't get there at the goalkeeper, but he parries it to Zalewski, who will take the shot on. It's saved by Karnisecki, but then drops in the area. And there's a foul, and there's a tackle there, and Karsdorp goes down. Play's been stopped here. Bit of a moment of madness from the goalkeeper, Karnisecki. As the ball was played to Lukaku, I think he was onside. Karnisecki came out, punched it away to the left-hand side. Zalewski had a shot, which was parried by the goalkeeper, straight into the path of Karsdorp, who stabbed the ball towards goal, and it was cleared off the line in the end by Jim City, and he needed to block it, because if he didn't, that was rippling the back of the net. And as Karsdorp had the shot from 6 yards out, he was just caught on his leg there by Ruggeri, the wing-back, who was the one to eventually clear the ball away. So Karsdorp stayed down. He's got a boot right into his thigh. And the VAR are checking for a penalty here. It's once the ball had gone. I think he was more trying to block it than obviously catch Karsdorp, Ruggeri. But the ball's well gone, and he still finds his studs right into the right thigh of Karsdorp. It is a dangerous one. And VAR are continuing to check it, and the VAR tonight is Alejandro Di Paolo, and I think they're going to ask the referee to go and have a look at this incident. Like I said, it was a complete mad moment from the goalkeeper, who came right towards the edge of his area to punch that ball away from Lukaku. Zalewski had the shot from the edge of the area on the left-hand side, which Karnisecki, despite being so far out of his goal, was still able to get a touch onto it, and it fell towards Karsdorp, who, right on that 6-yard line, I think he even studied the ball. He did. He studied the ball towards the net. It was well blocked off the line by Jim City, but he was caught as the ball had gone by Ruggeri. The referees had a look on the VAR screen, and he is going to point for a penalty. Roma have a chance to equalise. It's a booking for the number 22, Matteo Ruggeri, the current Italian under-21 international, concedes the penalty. Like I say, Karsdorp from wing-back came inside, making a really good attacking run. And as that shot from Zalewski was deflected by the goalkeeper, it fell straight to Karsdorp, who had the shot. And then Ruggeri, as the ball had been moved towards goal, he had his foot high and he caught the Roma man late. And the referee deems that as a penalty kick. And it'll be Paulo Dybala to take. He's Roma's number 21. This will be his 5th goal in the Serie A. He scored in the cup win in the week from 12 yards out as well. So it'll be back-to-back games with goals from the spot for Dybala. So it'll be Dybala against Karnisecki. The goalkeeper has been in good form tonight so far. He's been very confident with his goalkeeping. But can he stop Dybala from 12 yards with his left foot? He strikes it into the back of the net. And it's an equaliser for Roma. As we are closing in on half-time, Paulo Dybala scores again from the penalty spot for AS Roma. It was well slotted away into the right-hand side of the goal. Yeah, aimed towards the bottom right corner. Just shot across the goal there. The Argentine sending Karnisecki the wrong way. And from the penalty spot, Roma have their equaliser. It was a bad foul, in fairness, by Ruggeri, who went in to try and obviously put off Karsdorp with his shot. But as he's just gone in, he was showing his studs. And caught Karsdorp after he'd had his shot taken. So we're back underway here with Atalanta on the ball in the Roma half towards this near side, where it's Holm who can't quite meet the ball before Zalewski, and Roma win it back, and he's then tackled by Scalvini, and it'll be a throw-in for Roma just inside their own half. Zalewski throws it down the line towards Lukaku, headed forward by Scalvini, out to the right to Holm, who's just about keeps it away from Zalewski this time. No, he can't. He's won it back there, Zalewski, and then he's fouled late as he'd won the ball back. It'll be a free kick for Roma, despite the protests of Coop Miners, who gave the foul away. It's gone very quick this first half. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but I feel like it's absolutely flown by. As Roma have possession in their own half with Llorente back out to the left to Cristante on halfway, forward down the channel, finds Lukaku on the near side who's taken Jim City with him. Lukaku plays it back into Zalewski, then Cristante, Zalewski again, backwards we go for Roma so they can keep the ball. It's with Llorente, who's been chased down by Moranchuk into the centre circle, plays it out to the right hand side there to Karsdorp, and back into Christensen. Been forced backwards once more to Mancini. Midway side the Roma half. It's to the left centre half of Diego Llorente. Forward it goes into the Atalanta half. Lukaku touches it down and then loses out in the end. Out of touch it goes for a throw in for Atalanta. Couldn't quite keep it in there. Romelu Lukaku, turning 31 years of age this year. Romelu Lukaku. He was able to score 10 goals in the league last season on his loan spell at Inter Milan. He's already got 8 so far this season, 2 in his last 3 that he's played. So Atalanta are in possession in their 18-yard area. Goalkeeper Carnesecchi, right-footed clearance. It's a high one. It's down the Atalanta left. Christensen for Roma will get there first, but Coop Miners will chase him, and he forces Christensen to just clear the ball out of touch midway side his own half. So it's an Atalanta throw-in with the left wing-back of Ruggieri, who gave away the penalty kick for Roma a couple of minutes ago, which was dispatched by Dybala. Scalvini, 1-2 with Moranchuk. Scalvini dribbling forward, and he plays the ball towards De Ketelaere. Intercepted, and Roma get it forward with Dybala charging down the left wing. Can't get away from Ederson, who will pick up a yellow card. I think it was a foul that was needed, really, by Ederson. I know he picked up a booking, but Dybala was away there if he'd got beyond Ederson. It is definitely Roma who have been the better side in the latter stages of this first half. Atalanta haven't done a lot going forward. They have had one big chance from after the goal. It was a shot well saved by Patricio on De Ketelaere. Dybala will put this cross into the air. It's a low one. It's volleyed away for Atalanta. Moranchuk will chase it, but Llorente will play it out to the left-hand side. Zalewski, headed touch, then lifts it down the line, looking for Dybala. Volleyed away by Scalvini. It'll be chased down by Moranchuk, but it'll go out of play on this near side for Roma, where the throw-in will be taken by their number 59, Zalewski. Just looking for a bit of movement inside the Atalanta half here, Zalewski. Not got many options with him. Goes to Lorenzo Pellegrini. Gets it back to Zalewski. Down the line it goes. Lukaku charging down that left-hand side. Darun will meet him with a big challenge, and it's too big of a challenge by Lukaku, who knocks him to the ground. And that'll be a free kick for Atalanta there. We know how physical Lukaku can be. Let's have a look. I don't think it's a foul, in all honesty. I just think he's got too much strength on Martin Darun. But Atalanta have the ball inside their own half with Coop Miners, who they need to get on the ball more. Maybe not, because he just had a head over to hit touch, and it's been picked up by Bove. Dybala has it in the Atalanta half, looking out to the left-hand side, finds Pellegrini in the area, wants to get onto his right foot, plays it across, intercepted by Darun, who's then tackled there by Zalewski. Pellegrini on the edge of the area, right-footed cross, volleyed away by Ederson. Always finds Cristante in the midfield for Roma, whose misplaced ball is picked up here by De Ketelaere. He's not got anything ahead of him, really, as there is an Atalanta player still down. That's Coop Miners. And De Ketelaere tries to play it forward. It deflects off a Roma man. Dybala continues to play, even with Atalanta down to 10. Karsdorp facing back towards his own goal and finds Christensen, Inside to his left here to Cristante. Pellegrini. It's now Zalewski. One-on-one with Holm. Goes on his left side. Can he cross it? He goes for a low ball. It's picked up by Scalvini. And Miranchuk will kick it out of play for a throw-in as their player of Toon Koopmeiners is still down. And I don't have much sympathy there for Toon Koopmeiners because he received the ball and very unnecessarily just had a really heavy touch. Like there was no one around him for him to have such a poor touch, but it invited the challenge from Eduardo Bove, the Roma central midfielder, and he went in strong with the slight tackle, but he won it fairly, and he may have just caught Koopmeiners' foot, possibly with his studs, on the follow-through, but nothing wrong with the for the tackle for me. But eventually play has been stopped just to see if Koopmeiners is okay. As I think Roma will play the ball back to Atalanta from the throw. And we've had 6 minutes of added on time, indicated by the fourth official, Daniele Doveri. As Atalanta clear it long, deep into the Roma half. De Ketelaere will chase it. Patricio comes out of his area and volleys away. Heart in their mouth stuff there for Mourinho. You could see him stress when he saw Patricio charging out of his area. And it'll be Emil Holm, the Atalanta right back, with the throw-in. He goes backwards here towards the halfway line to Scalvini. It's now Jim City. To his left to Kolasinac. Ruggieri. Down the left-hand side to Koopmeiners. He's got Christensen on his back. Can he keep it away from him? He can. He lifts it back into Ruggieri. Atalanta keep the ball. Jim City on the halfway line. Ruggieri, the wing-back. Into the midfield we go with Ederson. Plays a ball forward, deflects off Llorente, goes behind him and out wide, but it's picked up by Zalewski, whose ball forward is intercepted by Scalvini. And it's back with Atalanta again. As we're closing in on the first half, we've got just over 4 minutes of additional time left to play. Holm, the right wing back on halfway, back to Scalvini. Down the line we go to Miranchuk, who can get in front of Cristante, play out to the left here to Koopmeiners, now into Darun. Ruggieri's got space at wing back on the left hand side. Koopmeiners is down the line. They find him. He's got Christensen following him. Right on this corner flag, Koopmeiners is tackled and it'll be a throw for Atalanta on the far side. Well tracked there by Christensen. It's now Ruggieri with the throw-in. Goes backwards here to Martin Dirun. Scalvini on the halfway line once again. Out to the right side, this time to Holm. Inside towards Miranchuk, misplaced pass picked up by Llorente, forward to Lukaku, nutmegs one Atalanta player and plays a nice ball out of his right foot to Dybala, who's tackled strongly and fairly. Won the ball there, said Kolasinac, and it'll be a throw-in for Roma. Definitely been very lenient tonight, his referee, Gianluca Aureliano, the 43-year-old. It's another big challenge, and Roma's Dybala's gone flying, but I think it was a fair one in fairness. Roma still have it though, as they did win a throw in there. Pellegrini in the midfield just about keeps it with Bove, who then allows Pellegrini to take over again, but within that midfield battle, it's Roma who've conceded the free kick there, I think. Let's have a look. Bove was trying to keep it. He had a hold of the shirt of De Ketelaere and also had a hug of Ederson before Pellegrini took the ball away. So it will be an Atalanta free kick just inside their own half. They play out to the right side here to Scalvini. Forward to De Ketelaere. Miranchuk, sorry. Ederson, who's got Cristante trying to tackle him, but he plays it forward to De Ketelaere. He goes back here to Scalvini, just about moves it away from Cristante. Out to the left we go now to Koopmeiners. It's Ruggieri, the wing-back, on the far side. Inside we go to Koopmeiners. Crosses it all the way through to right wing-back Holm, who has a chance to strike it. It's a great block from Llorente. Drops to Ederson on the edge of the area, so Atalanta are still alive here. So with Scalvini getting forward from centre-half. Down the line it goes to Miranchuk. Flag stays down for the moment. Takes on Llorente. On the byline, can he work across? No, he can't. He's kept in as well by Zalewski. And Roma can break. Down the left-hand side with Dybala. Plays it forward. It's a weak pass, and it's gone straight to Ederson in the Atalanta midfield. Midway side the Roma half. He goes out to his left here to Koopmeiners. 90 seconds left of added on time in this first half, and we're all square at 1-1. Scalvini, great ball through into the box here for De Ketelaere, who's had to dribble outside the area to keep the ball away from Mancini. Goes back into Scalvini in the end, who then finds its way to the halfway line to number 19, Jim City, who's playing his 10th game in his career against Roma tonight, the Albanian. Ruggieri, ball forward, it's a short one, it's picked up by Bove, and Roma can try and counter and get a lead before half-time. Dybala into the space on the near side for Zalewski, who latches onto the ball. He's running at home, the wing-back, goes on the inside onto his stronger right foot, just lays it off to Cristante in the midfield. It's got less than a minute to go now. Bove with the ball, the number 52. Cristante out to the left again to Zalewski. Lukaku's in the area wanting it. Zalewski's running with it. Finds Lukaku. Back to goal, squares it. Dybala's shot blocked and cleared by Atalanta. That's a big chance. Very close for Dybala to shoot towards the goalkeeper, but it was blocked before it got to the Atalanta number 29 in goal. And Roma still have it on halfway. Bove keeping it away from Darun. Christensen lifts it inside, looking for Lukaku, flicks it around the corner for Dybala, who latches onto it. He's been pulled down outside the area. Oh, the referee tells him to get up. I think that's a bad decision. Atalanta then clear it. Referee's not having any of it, but I'm sure that's a foul. Really good play by Dybala. In fairness, Dybala's actually got a piece of Kolasinac's shirt. He's probably got that right, the referee. Jose Mourinho's furious. But I think he's actually got that right, the referee. Jose Mourinho really not happy here, and I think the referee might have a word with him. It's a bit of a stare down here between Mourinho and the referee. Mourinho's not backing down off the touchline. Yellow card for Jose Mourinho, who was also booked in his last game at home in the league against Napoli. But I think on the grand scheme of things, I think the referee's got that one right. I think both have got hold of each other. Like Kolasinac's just trying to have a little pull at Dybala, but then Dybala's got a big chunk of Atalanta defender Kolasinac's shirt, actually. So I think it's just a bit of both, looking at the replay there. I can see why, in time, why Mourinho thought that was a free kick, because I did as well. But off replays, I do think that that's just a bit of a 50-50, and that's where the referee will blow for half-time. After just over 52 minutes of football, it's 1-1 at the Stadio Olimpico. I don't know if the referee's brandishing any more yellows at the end of that half. They just cut the camera away, as it looked like there were still some problems that were being dealt with there by the referee. But I'll let you all know when I know more about that. But the game did start brightly for AS Roma. They were the team who started on top, but with their first chance of the game, Atalanta took the lead in the 8th minute through Toon Koopmeiners. A ball from the right wing position from Alexei Miranchuk was a curling left-footed ball which fell straight onto the head of Koopmeiners, who jumped beyond Karsdorp and headed it beyond Patricio for a 1-0 lead for Atalanta away. I think they haven't won away from home since October, Atalanta. But after that, Roma regained control of the game, using Lukaku up front as the target man and working off the Belgian, and they were able to have 9 shots, 5 on target, and one of those on target came from the penalty spot. A penalty was won by Rick Karsdorp. Ball was played through for Lukaku. The goalkeeper came well out of his way off his goal line to punch the ball away from Lukaku. It fell to Zalewski on the left-hand side, who from afar, from the wide angle, had a shot towards goal. It was parried away by the goalkeeper, who was running back towards his goal. His parry fell straight to Karsdorp on the edge of the 6-yard box, who studied it towards goal. It was blocked on the line by Jim City, but as he had the shot, Karsdorp, he was caught after the ball had gone by left wing-back Matteo Ruggieri, and on a VAR check, you can clearly see that Ruggieri's studs catches the top of Karsdorp's right leg, and the referee saw that as enough for a penalty, which was dispatched by Dybala. And after 52 minutes of the first half, it ends here at the Stadio Olimpico. Roma 1, Atalanta 1. So half-time here. Atalanta with the early goal in the game in the 8th minute, and then Roma scoring later on in the first half in the 39th through their main man, Paulo Dybala, who scores his 24th goal in a Roma shirt in his career, in his 55th appearance for the club. I think Roma have definitely been the better side. Don't think Atalanta have got their better attacking players in the game enough. I know Koopmeiners has scored, but ever since that goal, he just went very quiet in the game. They weren't able to find him in possession. And I think the only player who looked really dangerous for Atalanta was Alexei Miranchuk, who got the assist in the end for the goal. And I think he was the brightest spark throughout the first half, but he also went slightly quiet midway in the first half, kind of from the 20th minute onwards. He went a little bit quiet as well, and it's been Roma who have probably been the more dominant side with the ball. They've looked the most dangerous with it, but it's been a tight battle in the midfield mainly. Obviously, two very similar systems being played by Mourinho and Gasperini, but we're all square at the minute at 1-1. Like I said, the last time these two teams met at the Stadio Olimpico last season, it was just the one goal needed for Atalanta to win it. In the 35th minute, the centre-half Scalvini scored it, and it was assisted by Rasmus Højlund. How many bookings in the game? So far, we have had 3 bookings, all of them for Atalanta. Sorry, I'm just reading that there's players on the Roma bench that I didn't know were on the Roma bench. Well, on the website, and there's more players on the bench. Well, that's great. Let me add them to the bench list. I do apologise. I went on the Serie website, and these players were not on the bench at the time. I do recognise that man, though, and that's a new signing, Hussein, who I'm writing at the minute, who's going on the bench. He's signed on a loan from Juventus. He's an 18-year-old centre-half. He came on at the San Siro for Juventus late on against AC Milan earlier on in the season, another game we commentated on. So he's come to Roma on loan. And then Bellucci is another one, 17-year-old. So I do apologise, I didn't know that he was put on the bench. So there's the added players for Roma on their bench. But it's 1-1 here at the Stadio Olimpico. And some head-to-head stats between these two. Atalanta have won 5 of the last 8 Serie A games against Roma. 5 wins, 1 draw and 2 losses. That's as many victories they were able to pick up in the previous 22 against Roma. So they've definitely hit a bit of a purple patch in form against Roma in recent seasons. And Roma, as well, have earned 19 points from their last possible 21 at home, conceding only 3 goals. That is since mid-September in the Serie A. Only Juventus have earned more points. They've earned 22, but that's in 8 games. So their home form is as good as the top of the division, Roma. It's just away from home where they've struggled more. They are 7 unbeaten in the Serie A at home. Last 7 they were unbeaten. But it was a great start for Atalanta. It was a really good cross from Koopmeiners, from Miranchuk, to find Koopmeiners in the area. Just as the clock ticked past the 7th minute, the first goal of the game was scored. Nothing Rui Patricio can do about that. And if Rui Patricio concedes another goal tonight, the Roma goalkeeper, that will be his 100th goal conceded in the Serie A. He's now conceded 99 goals in his 92nd game in the division. But Roma were definitely the side on top once that first goal was scored. Dybala came close through a deflected cross. That was well saved by Carnesecchi, the 23-year-old goalkeeper who is yet to play a game for the Italian national team, but he has been on the bench twice for the senior team at international level. And then Cristante was caught out in possession as well, 22 minutes in, and De Ketelaere was played in behind, and his shot towards goal in the area looked destined to hit the back of the net, but Patricio came rushing out and saved it with his right arm to avoid conceding his 100th goal in Serie A. But I feel like De Ketelaere will be slightly annoyed with himself that he wasn't able to bag that goal. And yeah, Dybala also coming close in the area. Passed by Pellegrini, went behind him, and then it nearly deflected back into Dybala off an Atalanta man. But it was headed away back from Dybala by Kolasinac, and it was caught by the goalkeeper, Carnesecchi. But I think if you are Atalanta, you're probably slightly frustrated the way that the penalty was given away. Because Ruggieri is just going to block the Karsdorp shot. But for some reason, as he's trying to block it, he just leaves his studs out open. Almost like he's thinking, if I just leave my boot hanging and if it catches him, then I can leave one late on him. It's almost like he's trying to intentionally catch the player there. It was a weird way to block the ball. I don't think he needed to show his studs like that. Even if he wasn't, exactly trying to catch Karsdorp there. It's just a weird way he's tried to block the ball with his studs showing like that. And Dybala dispatched the penalty, bottom right corner, with that left foot, sending the goalkeeper the wrong way. The second half will be back underway shortly. We did have 6 minutes of added on time in that first half, so I have to wait just a little bit longer for the start of the second half. Atalanta have just started picking up form again. The team currently in 7th position at the start of this game. And if this game does end a draw for Roma and Atalanta would go up to 6th. They'd be above Lazio on goal difference, and Roma would stay in 8th, but they'd be 1 point behind Atalanta in 6th, and Roma would be 4 off top 4. But Atalanta had a run of 3 losses and a draw, and then after that they were able to bounce back with 3 wins from their last 4 in the league. It was the same amount of wins they were able to get in their previous 9, Atalanta. So they've gone from struggling to get wins to winning more often than not in the month of December. As in their last game for Atalanta in the league, which came just before New Year, it was on the 30th of December. They won at home 1-0 to Lecce, having 17 shots, 4 on target. The match winner was Ademola Lookman, who is formerly a loanee of Leicester. He's away now for Atalanta for the meantime, as he's off to the African Cup of Nations to represent Nigeria. But the players they've brought in to fill the hole of Ademola Lookman have done okay in that first half, because that's the likes of Miranchuk, the Russian forward. He wouldn't usually start if there was the likes of Ademola Lookman available, but he's not available, and they've put a player like him in, and he's provided an assist already, Miranchuk, tonight. Scored and assisted as well in the week in Atalanta's cup game against Sassuolo, which ended in a 3-1 win. But let's just hope that we get some more goals in this second half, as it won't be any more clean sheets for either team tonight, because despite Atalanta keeping a clean sheet in their last game against Lecce at home in that 1-0 win. Before that game, they'd gone 7 without a clean sheet at Atalanta, which kind of shows you the problems that they were having when they weren't picking up victories. They were just conceding just a few too many goals. But these two sides have conceded the same amount this season. They both conceded 21 goals in the league. But the commentary also tomorrow. Wigan against Atalanta. It's got Atalanta mid. Wigan against Manchester United in the FA Cup third round. The final game of the third round for the FA Cup this year. And then next week's commentaries will be scheduled on the channel later tonight, so you'll know what is to come in the following week on the channel as we commence into the second week of January. So the busy festive period is just starting to fade away, and we won't have as many games on as we usually do in the week until we get the Champions League back, which will be European football should be back next month in February. As the second half will be getting underway now in a couple of minutes' time. It's important, I think, for both teams that the other one doesn't win. So that might mean it does end in a draw, possibly, because I don't think either team want the other team to gain 3 points on them, especially when it's so close at the moment. I think it'd be a big 3 points to lose, but it would also be a huge 3 points to gain. So it depends if any of these teams, go for it and really commit for the victory. But Atalanta, they certainly have options on the bench. They've got Luis Muriel, the Colombian striker, who's got the 2 goals so far this season against AC Milan and Salernitana. They both came in the month of December. And they've also got Gianluca Scamacca, the number 90, who was signed from West Ham in the summer. And it does look like Roma are going to bring on one of their January signings. It's going to be Loney from Juventus, Huijsen. He's a young centre-half for Roma. $18 years old he is. He's on loan until the end of the season. So I'm not sure who he will replace in the Roma side. As it's the Roma side who are starting to enter the field from the tunnel at the Stadio Olimpico. Jose Mourinho's record against Atalanta is mixed, to say the least. He's got 4 wins from his last 8 against them. His first game ever against Atalanta in management was a 3-1 away loss back in January 2009. And for Gian Piero Gasperini, the head coach for Atalanta, he's got 29 games against Roma, 10 wins, 5 draws and 14 losses. He was actually in charge of Inter Milan for 5 games in 2011, Gasperini, where he lost 4 of the 5, and the one game he didn't lose in that 5 was against Roma at home, and it was back in September 2011. So he's also had his fair share of success against Roma, but then he's also had plenty of defeats. So, the substitute for Roma, the number 3, the signing on loan from Juventus, Huijsen, will replace number 14. And that is Diego Llorente. So it is one centre-back for another. So Dean Huijsen will slot in at left centre-half for Roma, I believe. There's no other changes that have been made from half-time. Just the one for Roma, none for Atalanta. There is one for Atalanta, and it is Charles de Ketelaere, the Belgian striker. He'll be replaced by number 90, Gianluca Scamacca, who's a little bit more of a presence up front for Atalanta at 6'5". He was actually born in Rome, Scamacca. He was at Roma for 3 years, from 2015 to 2012 to 2015. He was also at rivals Lazio for 3 years previous to that. And he's never, ever scored against Roma in his career, and he's never won or drawn. He's always lost against them. So one change each, as it's 1-1 in the game. And we've got the second 45 minutes coming up, where Roma's kicking left to right with kick-off. It'll be Atalanta right to left. And we're back underway here at the Stadio Olimpico. And it'll be Dean Huijsen, the loanee from Juventus, playing at right centre-back. And it will be Christensen at left centre-back, as they've already worked it to Dybala on the right-hand side, tackled by Kolasinac. And that'll be a throw-in for Roma, taken quickly by Karsdorp, who goes back to the halfway line to Huijsen. So now with the left centre-half, Christensen finds Zalewski on the halfway. Loses possession, has been pulled down, and the referee gives a free kick. Emil Holm just been a little bit too aggressive with the tackle there. Dybala tackled in the Atalanta half by Kolasinac. Ederson out to the right-hand side here to Miranchuk, who's got Christensen following him, and he's able to release it back into his own half to keep the ball here with Scalvini. Atalanta shifting it out to their left to De Roon. Forward to Koop Miners, the goal scorer of the first goal. Kolasinac back to Koop Miners on this near side. His pass is deflected off Huijsen. Lukaku's ball out to the left comes off Kolasinac, and it's back with Roma in their own half with Christensen. In the centre circle is Pellegrini. Finds Zalewski on the left. Christensen again as Roma settle on the ball inside their own half. Mancini to the right centre-back, Huijsen. First time ball forward, aimed for Lukaku. Finds Lukaku, turns away from Jim City and plays it to the left to Pellegrini. Chance for Roma early on in the second half. It's now with the left wing-back Zalewski outside the area. Right-footed curling ball in towards the far post, and Ruggeri has time to chest it back to his own goalkeeper. And Atalanta survived the scare from Roma early on. Poor cross in the end by Zalewski, putting it at the far post where no one in the Roma shirt was attacking it, which allowed Ruggeri to just chest the ball back to his own goalkeeper as Atalanta play out from the back on the far side. Miranchuk to Ederson. Lifted ball out down the right channel looking for Holm. He tries to go around the outside of Zalewski, runs out of pitch on the far side. And that'll be a throw-in for Roma on the halfway line. Zalewski throws it into Dybala. His flick forward, can't quite find Lukaku. It'll be Atalanta to build from the back. It's with their left wing back who gave away the penalty in the first half, and that is Ruggeri. Finds Koop Miners, just about keeps it in, goes back to Ruggeri. Then into the goalkeeper, Carnesecchi. First time ball up past the halfway line, looking for Scamacca, battling with Mancini, and it's Huijsen to give the ball away in the end. As Scamacca looks like he may have left one there on Mancini. And Patricio boots it out of play here. So as Mancini and Scamacca were battling for the ball, Karsdorp came in and kind of took it away from them both. In the end, actually it was Huijsen who took it away from them. And I think Mancini tried to insinuate that Scamacca stamped on Mancini. Let's have a look. Ooh. The camera angle didn't quite show it there, but it looks like Scamacca may have just left one there on Mancini in the private area, if I can say that. Let's have a look. So, ooh. So they're like grappling with each other, and Mancini falls to the deck, and Scamacca tries to put his foot down on the floor so he doesn't fall over, and instead of planting his foot on the ball or the floor, he plants them on Mancini's private parts, and that's a painful one. That is painful. The referee didn't give it as a foul or anything. I don't think VAR are checking it for any violent conduct or anything like that. But that's a painful one for Mancini, especially the studs these days, the metal ones. They can hurt. So we're still just paused at the moment as Mancini receives treatment. I'm sure it'll be okay to continue. Mancini on his 200th appearance for Roma. Yeah, he's just hobbling to the near side here. Mancini. As Atalanta do throw it back to Roma, as they were the ones to kick it out of play for Mancini to receive treatment. And at the minute, it's Cristante in the back three to cover for Mancini as they clear it forward. It can't be controlled by Pellegrini. Picked up on halfway by Jim City. It's now Scalvini on the Atalanta right. Finds Ederson, who's looking forward. Passes it towards Miranchuk, who's touch out there. Goes out of play, but I think he was caught as he tried to play the ball there, Miranchuk. And it'll be a free kick for the away side, who haven't done much at all in this second half, as we're 5 minutes in and I've forgot to do the timer. Apologies. So definitely an opportunity for Atalanta to get this ball in the box, ask some questions of this Roma team. They take it short and they go to the left here to Koopmeiners, midway inside the Roma half. Goes out to the left wing to Ruggeri, who crosses it towards the far post. It's a good ball and it drops all the way through. It's deflecting. It's being shot by Scalvini, and in the end it goes over the crossbar. Like I say, the centre-back scored the only goal in this fixture last season. Scalvini, and the ball dropped to him this time. It was very messy in the area, and eventually it did drop for Scalvini, who hit it on the volley with his right foot, aiming towards the top right corner, but just goes wide and high in the end for Atalanta, and it remains 1-1. Just checking for a handball there as that cross went in, but Cristante had his hands right in front of his chest, so they weren't in a natural position as Roma clear it up again up towards Lukaku and halfway, touches it into Pellegrini. He's so good at that, Lukaku. And they can now move out wide to Zalewski on the far side. Cristante's making a run ahead of him. Zalewski will go alone instead and have a shot from afar, and that's nothing short of awful. And that's a goal kick for Atalanta. Didn't quite get that on target there, you could say. Nikola Zalewski. As Atalanta play out from the back here towards the corner flag. Borvé's closing down Jim City. And in the end, it's kicked out for a throw-in for Roma on the near side, next to the corner flag. Good closing down there by Borvé for Roma. As Atalanta were just doing too much there, trying to play out from the back. Dybala finds Lukaku, who's in tackle by Jim City, but Dybala's gone down as he's passed the ball. I don't think it's been given as a free kick. I think Dybala's just being seen by the referee. Just ran into Kolasinac there, Dybala, and then stayed down. Just I mentioned this in the last game that I commentated on in the Serie A. We did Roma-Napoli, and it actually has been given as a free kick. Wow. The amount of throwing around they do with themselves, I find it embarrassing. Like the way they just throw themselves to the floor and they roll around and just waste time. As Dybala from the free kick he won crosses it in. It goes all the way, nearly goes all the way through. Big header in the end there by Jim City and volleyed away by Miranchuk. right into the sky. It's dropping. It's controlled by Dybala. That's a great touch from the Argentine World Cup winner. And it's Roma back on the ball in the Atalanta half with captain Pellegrini. Now in the centre circle with Cristante. Lifted ball over the top, straight through to the goalkeeper. Carnesecchi nearly dropped for Karsdorp in the end there, the Dutchman. Forward from wing-back once again. Ederson in the midfield for Atalanta. Shows too much of it to Cristante, who can get it forward. Lukaku, Pellegrini. Dybala in the area, goes down, and it's not given by the referee in the end. Kolasinac can use his goalkeeper to clear the ball. Headed back forward by Christensen. Brought down here by De Roon. Tackled by Lukaku, who's just getting back there to win the ball for Roma. Cristante needs to get rid, and he does eventually pass it to Bove, who then goes down. And there's a book in there for Atalanta's number 7, Koopmeiners. I think. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, Koopmeiners with the booking. Just seems like Roma have the better of Atalanta in this game. Just better quality. Yeah, Koopmeiners just pulling the shirt of Bove, who tried to charge forward for the home side. I think Koopmeiners has had a poor game. Oh, I keep forgetting to do this timer contact. Yeah, I mean, I know he scored Koopmeiners, but I think everything he's done since the goal has been pretty poor, in all honesty. So it'll be a chance for Roma to cross here. The ball is about 35 yards from goal, just to the right-hand side. So it'll be Pellegrini to cross it towards the far post, where it's helped on. And at the near post, I don't know if that was on target, but it's a really good save. On his Roma debut, Dean Huijsen was able to poke a foot at it. Oh, it came off an Atalanta player instead. Huijsen for Roma did put his foot towards it, but didn't connect with it. It was Holm instead for Atalanta, who deflected it towards his own goal. And it had to be stopped at the near post there by the goalkeeper, Carnesecchi. So it'll be an in-swinger on the far side for Pellegrini. Goes towards Dybala on the penalty spot. Cut out by Scamacca, but Dybala goes for the overhead kick instead. And it's always going wide of the post. Tried it there, Dybala had loads of room there. No one was near him, so he was allowed to just have the attempt of the overhead kick. Goal kick taken by Carnesecchi out to the Atalanta right. Goes all the way out of play for a Roma throw-in. Where it'll be Zalewski to take. 11 minutes played of this second half. Throw-in goes to Lukaku. Chests it to Pellegrini, who's not caught there by an Atalanta man. And that'll be a Atalanta ball now with Koopmeiners out to the left to Ruggieri. Then down the flank. And that's a great ball and that's a great touch. Kolasinac for Atalanta. Final third. Works across. Far post. Scamacca tries to get it back across. And it stays in. Kolasinac heads it inside to the area. Picked up by Cristante. Out to right wing back Karsdorp, who miskicks the clearance. Falls to Koopmeiners, who with the right boot curls across in. Scamacca can win the header into the bottom left corner. But as he headed the ball, there was a definite push in the back of a Roma defender. And that'll be a free kick and not a goal in the end. Goal scorer turning provider there, Koopmeiners, who scored the first and then put the cross in there. But as Scamacca won the header, he pushed Zalewski to the ground. Decent header from Scamacca. 6 yards out, bottom left corner. Beyond Patricio, but pushed in the back to win the header free. And it means it remains 1-1 there. And he knew Scamacca, he didn't really protest the decision. But he's got 5 goals in Serie A. Scamacca, his last against Inter Milan in a 2-1 loss in November. Did score 1 as well in the Europa League, which Atalanta are in. And they went through in their group top. They played Sporting Lisbon, Sturm Graz and Rakau. And they finished top unbeaten. A guided header into the bottom left corner. Patricio got a hand to it, but you could tell as soon as Zalewski hit the ground that was going to be given as a foul and a free kick, and the goal was going to be disallowed. So still waiting for play to get back underway here. Not quite sure why we've got a bit of a pause. I know Pellegrini went down before, but still not underway. And we are going to get underway now with the free kick, just near the penalty spot for Roma. It'll be Rui Patricio to take it, the 35-year-old, turning 36 in February. It's Darun, heads away the free kick, then headed back forward by Christensen. Headed away by Scalvini, still in the air here. Cristante nods it down to the left of Pellegrini, who controls it with his feet. In the Atalanta half on the far side, Zalewski goes back to the back three, and that is going to be Mancini on the ball. Driving forward. Playing it out to his right to Huijsen. Down the flank to Bove on halfway. Karsdorp can't find the return pass to Bove. It's now Koopmeiners. Finds Ruggieri. Ball for Scamacca, comes off Mancini, but the loose ball finds Darun, and it's still with Atalanta in the possession. Halfway line's Moranchuk gets the touch away from Christensen. Christensen, and then he's caught by the Danish defender, so that'll be a free kick just on the halfway line on the far side for Atalanta. Good feet there by Alexei Moranchuk, who's now started the last 4 games against Roma. Moranchuk, who spent last season on loan at Torino. Scored 4 times in the Serie A. There's Koopmeiners to Scamacca. Lays it off for Ruggieri. Midway inside the Roma half. On this near side, he tries to find the return pass to Koopmeiners, but it's harder play in the end, and that'll be a throw-in for Roma inside their own half. Thrown back by Karsdorp to Huijsen. He finds Karsdorp again. Left-footed pass towards the halfway line. Lukaku's not there. It's now Scalvini dribbling into the Roma half, playing it forward to Scamacca, lays off Ederson, who gets away from Huijsen. In the area, he shoots. And Ederson off balance with his left foot, skies it over the crossbar. Good play there for Roma. Great pass by Scalvini to find Scamacca, who just nice little delicate touch into the path of Ederson meant he could dribble, get the ball and dribble away and get the shot off. But over the bar it went from the Brazilian Ederson, who scored only once last season in the Serie A. And that was against Salernitana in an 8-2 win in January. And that's the team he signed from for Atalanta, Ederson. £12 million from Salernitana. As Huijsen for Roma clears up the field towards halfway for Lukaku. Can't win the header. Jim City's pass, though, for Atalanta. Falls straight for Bove for Roma. And they've got it out to the left to Zalewski. And the attack's on for Roma. On the far side, Zalewski shows too much of the ball to Holm, who will get there in the corner flag. He'll slip. He'll keep it in, though. He shields the ball, clears it down the line for Moranchuk, who will not get there ahead of Christensen. Roma are back in possession. Cristante with an early cross. Karsdorp chests it. Dybala on the angle. Hits the side netting. And that will be a corner. As Karsdorp chested it down and played it to Dybala, I thought one of them may have been offside, but the flag never came. And that's a big chance for Dybala. I know it was on an angle, but couldn't quite hit the back of the net for the second time today. It's Dybala, but a left-footed outswinging ball, and it's a deeper one towards Mancini. Goes away from him, drops to Pellegrini, who lifts it back in the area. Huijsen headed away by Jim City in the end. It'll drop to Moranchuk on the edge of the area, who drives away for Atalanta. Tackled fairly. Surely? No. I'm not a referee. Moranchuk brought down by Christensen, and the referee brings out a yellow card. Let's have a look. Dribbling away. No, trips the man instead. I thought that the touch forward was Christensen touching the ball, but it was actually Moranchuk who touched it away, and Christensen brought him down. So a rightly given yellow card by the referee, and like I say, that's why I'm definitely not a referee. Still 1-1 here. 18 minutes nearly now into this second half. Roma still looking the side more likely to score, even though Atalanta have had it in the back of the net. But it was by Scamacca who committed a foul on Zalewski as the ball was crossed, and he headed the ball in. So 27 minutes left to play at the Stadio Olimpico. Like I say, just the one loss at home this season for Roma in the league against AC Milan. They don't usually lose here. It's Ederson, strong challenge in the midfield on Pellegrini. It's a fair challenge. It's a throw-in for the away side inside the Roma half. And before we get the throw-in, we'll get 2 Atalanta changes. We'll get Davide Zappacosta on for number 22, Matteo Ruggieri, who gave away the penalty in the first half, which Roma put away through Dybala. And Ederson in central midfield will be replaced by Mario Pasalic, who's on the 2 goals so far this season. Pasalic, he got 5 last season. His best scoring season, Pasalic, he got 13 in the Serie A in the 21-22 season. He's formerly off Chelsea for 6 years. And he comes on, and it'll also be a double change for Roma. Looks like it might be a wing-back swap for Roma. There's Karsdorp and Zalewski. The 2 wing-backs are replaced by Celik, who will go on the right side of the wing-backs, and Spinazzola will go on the left. So Karsdorp off, who won the penalty in that first half, is replaced by Zeki Celik. "25 minutes to play. We're back underway in the Atalanta half. Kolasinac forward to Koopmeiners. Keeps the ball moving here towards Zappacosta. Free kick given as Koopmeiners got it to Zappacosta, who was just caught late there by Paulo Dybala. And it'll be taken short by Kolasinac. And it looks like, for Roma, they're having to get some ice on Karsdorp. As Scalvini, ball forward to Scamacca, lays it off to the right wing here to Miranchuk. Back to the halfway line to Pasalic. Switch to the left. Find Zappacosta. Former Chelsea man. Lifts it down the line. Finds Koopmeiners, who's tackled by Huijsen. And that'll be a throw-in for Atalanta in the final third on this near side. Zappacosta gets to return from the throw-in, then goes down under the challenge of Celik. And that'll be a free kick here for Atalanta, right next to this near side. So it's a really good area for a cross, won by the substitute Zappacosta, who was once of Roma himself. A loan spell back in 2019-2020 season. Only played the 9 games for Roma. But off the bench, Zappacosta is making his 100th appearance in the Serie A for Atalanta, where he joined back in August 2021. He also had a 4-year spell before that. As the ball goes in from the free kick, header won by a Roma man, and it'll drop out to the left to Spinazzola, who's fresh off the bench, running at Koopmeiners. Plays a ball forward towards Lukaku, won't get there on the halfway line. Played forward by Darun. Scamacca turns forward, runs forward, chops away from Bove, and plays out to the right wing here to Pasalic. Cross goes in. Header away on the penalty spot by Mancini. Pellegrini gets there, gets away from Pasalic, driving down the left, plays a ball to his right to Lukaku, turns away from Darun, but the pass is intercepted by Holm. Atalanta back on the ball on the halfway line with their captain Darun. Zappacosta, and now they're back with their back 3 here, Atalanta, with Jim City. Scalvini, and that's an awful ball from the Atalanta centre-half, overhits it towards Scamacca, goes straight through to the gloves of Patricio. It's now the home side on the ball. Celik, back to the edge of the area to Huijsen, off the bench at half-time for Llorente. It's now with Patricio once again, like I say, 36 at the end of this season. Patricio, and he's got a year left on his deal. Well, 6 months left on his contract at Roma. Spinazzola in the Roma half on the far side. Goes backwards here. And the cross to Huijsen. Forward to Dybala. First time pass towards Lukaku. It's nowhere near the Belgian. And it's back with Atalanta with Kolasinac. Forward to Koopmeiners. Back to Zappacosta, who's got Celik behind him, so he plays it all the way back to the goalkeeper, Carnesecchi. Scalvini into Pasalic. He's got Cristante closing him down. He's been forced backwards here, Pasalic, where he gets away from the slide tackle of Pellegrini. And he goes back here to the goalkeeper, Carnesecchi, who clears it with his right boot up towards the halfway line, goes over Scamacca's head, and through for Huijsen. Roma are back on the ball. Mancini forward to Pellegrini, lifts it towards Lukaku, who will chase it. Jim City will get there, and he will clear it away from Lukaku, but it was a bit of a hurried clearance from the Albanian centre-half, born in Zurich. Spinazzola inside, looking for Pellegrini, cut out by Scalvini. Ball forward for Scamacca. Keeps it away from Mancini, plays out to the right here to Pasalic. Forward to Miranchuk. Tries to get the return, it's Holm, the wing-back. Fouled there by Spinazzola. Yes, he is. On the edge of the area, on the right wing. Holm stays down, holding his right leg. Spinazzola concedes the free kick. He doesn't agree with the referee's decision, but he'll have to accept it. Just a little kick there on Holm's right leg by Spinazzola. So it'll be a cross from the right wing. Again, a similar area where Miranchuk crossed the ball in the first half. Obviously, it was on the opposite end of the pitch, but on that right-hand side for Atalanta, with his left foot curling it in towards goal. Koopmeiners won that header on that cross. Who will win it this time? He'll cross it Miranchuk. Header won by Christensen in the 6-yard area, and out it goes for a corner for Atalanta. They remain in the ascendancy here, the away side. And if Atalanta do win this game, they will go 1 point behind Fiorentina in 4th for that last Champions League spot. In it goes, it's an in-swinger, it's caught and then dropped by Patricio, then caught again. And the pressure is eased for AS Roma through their goalkeeper Patricio. Scamacca was the closest to him, and he was the one who forced him to drop the ball. Just a bit of pressure there by Scamacca on Patricio, but he was able to catch it once again, once he dropped it. And it's Roma to have the ball with 20 minutes to play. Huijsen forward to Pellegrini inside his own half, fires it out to the right hand side, cut out there by Kolasinac. I think he's been fantastic tonight, and then feeds it to the left to Koopmeiners, overhit. Throw in for Roma. Celik, the wing back for Roma, midway side his own half with this throw, where he'll throw it down the line. It's a high one up towards Lukaku, goes over his head and then headed away by Jim City. Controlled by Koopmeiners, ball inside, deflects off Cristante for Bove. But I think as it deflects off Cristante, I think the referee says it came off his arm. And that'll be a free kick. Let's have a look. Koopmeiners just kicked it. That's not a handball for me. It hit Cristante's hand, but his hand was there, like literally on his chest like that. Like, what do you expect? He tucked his arm in. I think that's a poor decision, but it does mean that Atalanta can keep the possession now. Scalvini, 1-2 with Miranchuk. Tries to return it back to Miranchuk, but he loses it here to Christensen. And then Pellegrini runs away with it, and he's tackled there. Fairly, says the referee. Ball goes down the Atalanta right again for Scalvini. His pass deflects off Pellegrini for Cristante. Pellegrini again. Tries to go backwards. It deflects off Holm, and that'll be a throw-in for the home side inside their own half. As Roma are going to bring on here Leandro Paredes, signed for €4 million in the summer from PSG. And he will replace Lorenzo Pellegrini, Roma's number 7, who's nearing 50 goals for Roma. Lorenzo Pellegrini is currently on 46. He scored in their last home game in the league against Napoli off the bench, which made it 1-0. It was a fantastic right-footed strike into the back of the net, but he will be replaced by Paredes, so I'm presuming Roma are going to add an extra body into that centre of midfield. As that throw-in's taken by Spinazzola, headed forward by Scalvini for Atalanta. First touch for Paredes, off his head, finds Dybala. Out to the right we go to Celik in the Atalanta half. Celik goes back to the halfway line to Cristante, who's took the captain's armband. Paredes, forward to Lukaku. Turns away from Jim City, out to the left to Spinazzola. In the final third, one-on-one with Holm. Onto the right foot, plays it backwards to the edge of the area to Paredes. Fires it wide right to Dybala, still on the edge of the area. Back to Paredes, takes a touch and a second, and then the pass is the third touch to Dybala, who switched ball is off the head of Koopmeiners, but it deflects back to Roma, so they keep possession with Dybala again. Goes back to Cristante. Lifts it up to Bove. Lukaku's touch is loose, and it'll be Zappacosta to not get there first. Bove got there first. Zappacosta went flying in, and it'll be a yellow card. So Cristante put the lifted ball in. Bove touched it to Lukaku, then touched into the path of Dybala, went away from the Argentine. So the ball fell loose. Bove went in, and Zappacosta's got the ball first. How's that a free kick? Zappacosta slides in, cleanly gets the ball. Yes, he does catch Bove. He does catch Bove on the follow-through, but the tackle to win the ball is perfect. I think that is extremely harsh there on Davide Zappacosta, the substitute in the second half for Atalanta. But they're going to have to deal with a free kick now on the Roma right, about 30 yards out, on the angle for a cross. Got plenty of bodies in there. AS Roma. It'll be substitute who's just been introduced, Leandro Paredes, to cross it. Right-footed, outswinger towards Mancini, headed won by Scamacca. Volley on the edge of the area by Dybala, which comes off Scalvini. And that'll be a throw-in on the far side for Roma, right next to the corner flag. Dybala takes it quickly into Spinazzola, who crosses. It's a very, very deep one and right over the crossbar and behind for a goal kick. It needs to be better than that if they're going to try and score a winner here, Roma. The Atalanta goalkeeper on the ball, Karnisecki, clears it long out to the right-hand side. It is flicked on there by Pasalic, and it drops to him after deflecting off a Roma man, but then he loses it once again, and then the pass for Roma is misplaced by Paredes. Miranchuk for Atalanta, heavy touch, easy tackle there for Christensen, who overruns it. Miranchuk back in there, trying to regain it, but eventually it drops back for Christensen, who will clear it for Roma, straight up to Lukaku. His touch is good, he plays it to Bove. Dybala looking for the run of Lukaku in behind. He'll chase it down the Roma left. Atalanta will get there first through Jim City, and it's with goalkeeper Karnisecki. And it's forward here for De Roon. He's got acres of space in the midfield here to turn forward and look for his next pass to the halfway line. It's Scamacca, tackled well by Mancini. Really well won back there by the Roma centre-half. Just being aggressive on Scamacca, but being fair when he does it. And we are waiting if we can get a winner in this game. This would be the 43rd draw in the fixture. And we haven't had a 0-0 in this game since September 1984. Genuinely. That's how long it's been since there's been a 0-0 in this game. There is always a goal at least in this fixture. As Roma have given away the ball here. And it's back with Atalanta with De Roon, who goes into his goalkeeper in the 18-yard box. Marco Karnisecki. It looks like Roma are going to introduce Stefan El Shawari as Atalanta go long up towards Miranchuk. Header won by Christensen. And then Cristante goes back to Mancini on the edge of the 18-yard box. To the right to Huijsen. Roma's new number 3. Mancini has returned the ball. He goes forward to Lukaku in the centre circle. His pass is towards nobody except Koopman is for Atalanta. Scamacca's ball in behind. Really key interception there by Mancini because Miranchuk was nearly in. And Roma play out to the right with Dybala. Loses out on the near side. Kolasinac to Koopman as his pass is behind Zappacosta. Throw in for the home side. As Kolasinac is just down at the moment. I think he's just got a problem here. Might be a bit of cramp. Hopefully it is just cramp and not a muscle pull for said Kolasinac, who spent 5 years at Arsenal, played 118 times for them, scoring 5 goals. I think he's been probably Atalanta's best player tonight, said Kolasinac, having to deal with Dybala on the Roma right. So Atalanta are going to make a change, and it is going to have to be Kolasinac, whose race is run tonight, and he'll be replaced by Atalanta's number 6, Jose Luis Palomino, making his third appearance of the season in the league. It's his first since September. His other appearances this season in the league have been late substitute appearances, and there's another one tonight for him. Does have a goal, in fact. Palomino against Roma in a 2-1 win back in the 2019-2020 season. As a throw-in for Roma, drops to Bove off Jim City, feeds it to the left to Spinazzola. Just misplaces a touch and slips. Holm can bring it away for Atalanta. He misplaces a touch, won back by Paredes. Played forward to Bove, turns forward, looks for Spinazzola in behind. It's a great ball. Is he onside? The flag stays down. Spinazzola squares it. Lukaku! Goal kick, well over the crossbar. That will look like a bad finish, but I don't think the pass is great. Spinazzola's onside. Substitute has literally just come on. Palomino was playing him on. And Spinazzola squared it on the penalty spot for Lukaku, but it's gone behind the Belgian. If he played it into the path of Lukaku, he finishes that, but it just went behind him. So we had to just try and readjust, and that meant the ball went over the crossbar in the end. I think that's a poor ball from Spinazzola instead of a poor finish. I mean, it is a poor finish, but I don't think it's entirely Lukaku's fault there. As the header forward by Palomino, he has to clear it as it deflects off Bove. In behind it goes. Miranchuk chases. Patricio clears outside the area. Up towards Bove, who loses out on Scalvini. Cristante nods it out to the left to Spinazzola. Right-footed ball up towards Lukaku down the left channel against Jim City. Lukaku will get there first using his strength. Lukaku's square ball towards Dybala is deflected and cleared away by Atalanta. We've got 10 minutes to go here. Spinazzola's headed forward. Finds Bove back into Paredes. Roma again with the ball. Great job. Cheers. Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that. I hope everyone is enjoying if you're still here. Haven't had a goal yet in the second half. We had an 8th minute goal from Atalanta through Coop Miners. Headed goal from a Miranchuk cross, and then Roma equalised from the spot with 6 minutes of the half to play. And now in the second half, we've not had a goal, but we could have one here. Spinazzola for Roma on the left-hand side in the final third. Inside the area, on his right foot. He crosses, header away by Palomino. Straight back to Spinazzola, who just put that first cross in. He's got Holm right next to him, so he's been forced to play backwards here for Roma to Christensen. And now out to the right to Huijsen. Back to the halfway line now with Mancini, who's got the captain's armband. Sorry, not Cristante. Huijsen forward to Lukaku. Again, he makes it stick, and he lays it off to Dybala. Edge of the area, plays it through for Lukaku in the box. Right-footed shots, and he will win the corner. Lukaku asked for the corner, and he got it. Right-footed shot from the Belgian. Deflects behind, and it goes early. It's blocked by Zappacosta. Straight back to Dybala on the near side. Another cross to the near post. Cleared this time by Pasalic. But he drops straight to a Roma player. And it's Leandro Paredes. Forward down the left for Bove. Midway inside the Atalanta half. It's now Spinazzola. Back to Huijsen. Paredes. Christensen. Pickpocketed in the midfield by Atalanta. Deroon out to the right to Miranchuk. Pasalic is ahead of him. Scamacca's making a run forward. He finds Scamacca. 1-on-1 with Celik. Tries to backheel it towards Deroon on the edge of the box. But it's deflected away. And cleared by Roma. I feel like Scamacca's got to do a better job there. Good header forward though there by Scalvini on halfway. Drops only as far as Paredes. Who's dribbling forward with it. Looking out to the Roma right-hand side. Brings Celik into play. 10 yards inside the Atalanta half. He drops it off onto the halfway line to Cristante. Into the space for Huijsen. Cristante back into number 23. Mancini, who came through the Fiorentina youth system. As Huijsen's ball forward, it will deflect in the air. And it will be brought down by Bove. Tackled from behind there in the end. And it's won back for Atalanta on this near side through Zappacosta. Deroon, formerly of Middlesbrough, when they were in the Premier League. The Dutch midfielder, who's now been at Atalanta since August 2017 after a loan spell in the 15-16 season. Ball forward for Atalanta towards Scamacca, who was coming back from an offside position. So free kick for Roma, and they're going to introduce El Shaarawy for the last 7 minutes plus added on time. Scamacca was offside there as well as the ball was played. And it'll be Dybala to come off So the number 21, Paulo Dybala, who scored 2 goals this week, one in the cup against Cremonese, and one from the spot again today to make it 1-1. Off he goes for the number 92, El Shaarawy. Ball over the top for Roma. Lukaku will chase it. Carnesecchi clears. He just curls it out wide though, and now a play for a throw-in for Roma on the near side. Throws it back here for Huijsen. So now Mancini forward into the centre circle for Cristante. He's facing his own goal, so goes all the way back here to Patricio. Clips it forward beyond the halfway line. Look for Lukaku, who doesn't flick it on. Can't find Bove. Zappacosta clears in the end for Atalanta on the left-hand side. It's a looper towards Scamacca. It's chested down by Mancini. Aggressively tackled by Mancini. Finds Lukaku, whose ball is intercepted, but it drops for Bove, who beats Jim City to it. Spinazzola now on the far side. He wants to get onto his right foot, but he'll play it instead to Bove, who tries to cut back, but it's blocked there in the end by Pasalic. And Holm will clear for Atalanta. Up towards Scamacca. It'll go beyond him. And it'll be a Roma ball in their own half with Huijsen. Cristante forward in between the lines for El Shaarawy. Celik's got a bit of room on the Roma right, and he will curl it out towards the Turkish fullback. He will lay it into Huijsen. Plays it forward for Bove. Volleyed away in the end there for Atalanta through Palomino. As we're going to get another change here for Atalanta. It's going to be the number 42, Giorgio Scalvini, the 20-year-old Italian centre-back, who has got 7 appearances for his country after his debut against Germany in June 2022. He'll be replaced by new signing from Hellas Verona for €9 million. Isaac Hien takes the number 4 shirt, the Swedish centre-back, actually sent off against Roma when Roma played Hellas Verona in August. And he's come on here just a like-for-like substitute with Scalvini. And this is his debut for Atalanta for Isaac Hien. Paredes, what a volley that is out to the left-hand side to Spinazzola. Running at Holm again. He'll go on the outside of him and he'll put a cross in, and I just don't know where he's aiming. Well over everyone and hard to play for a goal kick. Just not good enough at all from Spinazzola since he's come off the bench. His crossing has not been up to standard. He's been on the bench now for the last 3 games, Spinazzola, where Jose Mourinho has preferred Polish wing-back Zalewski ahead of him. As we're closing in on 90 here. 86.5 minutes played, still 1-1. Carnesecchi, the goalkeeper, down the Atalanta right, flicked on towards Scamacca, headed away by Christensen. Can be kept in by El Shaarawy, kicks it off Jim City, and it'll be a throw-in for Roma on the halfway line, on the far side. Spinazzola with the throw. Up towards Lukaku. Chests it down and lays it for Bove. Over the top for El Shaarawy. Chested touch. Drives in the area. El Shaarawy tries to square. Comes off an Atalanta player. And that'll be a corner. Stefan El Shaarawy making an instant impact. Bursting into the area. And he's won his side a corner. It'll be a right-footed in-swinger from Paredes. It's a lower one. Met at the near post by Pasalic. It'll drop back towards Paredes, who can work a bit of space, but the pass is really poor. Straight to Maranchuk, whose touch goes to El Shaarawy. So Paredes gets away with that horrific pass. Nearly set up a Atalanta counter-attack as Cristante will fire the ball back into the area. Goes over the head of Holm and Bove. And that'll be a goal kick for the away side. You can definitely see that Roma have tried all they can to try and win this game. If we just have a look at the stats, Roma have had 15 shots to Atalanta's 8. Carnesecchi with the goal kick. Scamacca wants to flick it on. It just bounces ahead of him. And it's headed away by Christensen. Hooked away by Jim City, straight out for a throw-in for Roma. Just inside the Atalanta half. Spinazzola has got it. Throws it across to Paredes in the centre circle. Right-footed pass out to Huijsen. Now Celik. Inside to Bove. Back out wide to Huijsen. Down the line for Lukaku. He trips Hean. And the referee does give a foul for it in the end. I think Lukaku just tripped over Isaac Hean, the Swedish centre-half. Let's have a look. Play down the line. Yeah, just tripped the centre-back who's just come off the bench. And that is probably a rightly given free kick by the referee on the guilty party being Romelu Lukaku. So it'll be Karnaseki to take this free kick on the 18-yard box for Atalanta. It's a high one against Scamacca. Will go for it. He misses it, but he'll run through from Miranchuk midway inside the Roma half. Lays it back off to Scamacca on the right-hand side. Dispossessed by El Shawari, who's going to burst away down the left. He's fresh. He's got pace. He keeps running here, El Shawari, and he's brought down eventually. And that'll be a free kick. Yet a card for Emil Holm. And on that far side, Roma have the chance to deliver a ball in the area as we are into the last minute of the 90. Did well there, El Shawari, to get it off Scamacca, because like I say, he is quite the build, the 6'5" striker. But then he just ran and kept running until he was brought down there by Holm, and it's a rightly given free kick. Didn't get any of the ball there, the Swedish wing-back. 5 minutes have been added on here. It'll be a Paredes right-footed cross. It'll swing towards the goal here. There's a little bit of a argy-bargy going on just on the edge of the 18-yard box. Just a bit of a scuffle. I think Martin de Roon, the Atalanta captain, is involved. The referee's just talking it out here with de Roon and Mancini. So it's been spoken out. They've put their differences aside, so this free kick can be taken. It'll be Paredes with the right-footed ball. It's got pace. It's a header won by Koopmeiners. Drops to the edge of the area. Chested. And a shot from El Shawari. Deflects and loops into the air in the box. First header won by an Atalanta player. Then headed forward by Roma man. Scuffed and sliced in the air by Palermo. And the ball eventually gets headed forward towards Lukaku. But it's going to be met by Karnaseki first. And it's Atalanta's ball. Less than 4 minutes to play. It's Palmerino with the clearance up the field for Atalanta. Finds Scamacca, who brings it down, and he's pulled back by Mancini. And that'll be a free kick for the away side in the Roma half. Given away by the current Roma captain Mancini on his 200th appearance for the club. De Roon, the Dutchman, he's got options out on the opposite flank. He'll keep it down the left though with Koopmeiners. Zappa Costa. Ball lifted over the top here for Atalanta, controlled by Koopmeiners, tackled by Huijsen. Plays it down the Roma right here for Bove, who looks forward, plays a ball in behind the defence. Lukaku will chase it, he'll go down under the challenge of Hean. Jose Mourinho is absolutely furious, no free kick's been given. Lukaku's on the floor laughing, but Atalanta can build now from the back. Jose Mourinho is absolutely adamant that should have been a free kick. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'd have to see a replay. It did seem very 50-50 as Scamacca touches it to Palomino. Headed away, though, by Christensen up to Lukaku. Loses out to Hean. Pasalic out to the right to Holm. He enters the Roma half on the far side. He's got options left and right. Miranchuk's to his right. Holm will just run forward into the area and then tackled by Christensen, who goes forward here towards El Shawari, and he's been tackled there by de Roon. And the last touch comes off the Atalanta player, and that'll be a Roma throw. Let's have a look. Hean had a big chunk of Lukaku's shirt, but then in fairness, Lukaku also had a little bit of Hean, and I think Mourinho is going to get sent off here. Yeah. I mean, no one's ever surprised now. There's no point making a big deal out of it. Jose Mourinho's been sent off here in added on time. He'd already been yellow carded, but that's not even a second yellow. He's just been shown a straight red. So Mourinho's been sent off for his reaction after that Lukaku challenge wasn't given as a free kick for his side. And Mourinho's just walking around his technical area. And he needs to get a move on because he's been sent off. And I think we're waiting to get underway. I think we're waiting for Mourinho to move. Never fails to make it about him, does he, Jose Mourinho? And eventually, after wasting a few more minutes, Jose Mourinho eventually walks down the tunnel at the Stadio Olimpico. And we can get back underway here. Far side, Roma throwing. Goes back into their own half with Mancini. To his right to Huijsen. We've got 45 seconds left of the added on time. Huijsen's ball flicked on by Lukaku in behind. And it just got away from Bove. And it'll be through for Atalanta's goalkeeper, Carnesecchi. He's making his 6th appearance in the Serie A in the last 8 games. He's been challenging with Juan Musso for that number 1 spot in the Atalanta goal. There's a long ball forward for Atalanta. It's not near Scamacca this time. It's near Moranchuk, where it's hooked away by Christensen. It'll be controlled by Diroum, but it's straight to Cristante. Bove. Ball over the top. Lukaku's chasing it. Carnesecchi's out again, out of the area to clear the ball. And it goes out for a throw-in for Roma on this near side. There's like a Roma coach on the pitch here. So far out of the technical area. But he's making his way back now. I think it'll be a Celik long throw here. He will throw it into the area. It drops in the box. Bove's the one closest to it. It's now Cristante out to the right to Celik, who will keep it in with a first-time cross towards the far post. Header won by an Atalanta man. Well, as far as Spinazzola on the Roma left. Obviously, we'll play a bit extra of the 5 because we had a Jose Mourinho C red, which killed a bit more of the added on time. Paredes back out to the right wing here to Celik. Bove. Celik again. Back to Paredes. Options out wide left, and he finds Spinazzola. One-on-one with Holm. The cross needs to be good. He goes on the outside. He puts a cross in. It lifts to the far post. Bove. In it goes. Header away by an Atalanta defender, and that was Hean. And that was a huge header. And they can break away here on the right with Pasalic. Goes back here to Holm, who clears it down the right-hand side. And after 6 minutes of added on time, the referee blows the whistle. And it is a point apiece at the Stadio Olimpico. Atalanta did the league double over Roma last season. Neither team will be able to do the same this time around, as this one ends a draw. Roma 1, Atalanta 1. The first goal came in the 8th minute through Toon Koop Miners. A fantastic cross ball from the Atalanta right from Moranchuk was headed in by Koop Miners from 6 yards out. And then Roma was able to equalise 6 minutes before the break. Paulo Dybala scoring a penalty, which was won by Karsdorp after being caught on his leg by Atalanta wing-back Matteo Ruggeri. And in the second half, it was Roma with the majority of the chances. They were able to have 16 shots, six of them on target, but they weren't able to score a winning goal. And in the end, Atalanta see it through for a point. Atalanta did have the ball in the back of the net around an hour in. Scamacca headed a ball into the back of the net, bottom left corner, but as he won the header, he pushed Zalewski in the back, and the referee gave it as a free kick. But bar that, Atalanta never really looked like scoring. It was Roma who were the most dominant side, but just couldn't break down the Atalanta defence from open play. And it is a draw. It is Roma's 5th of the season. It's Atalanta's third. Their second away from home. And it does mean that in their 10 games now that Roma have played at home in the league, they've only been beaten once. So they've got a good record here at home. But their focus now will turn to the Coppa Italia, where they've got to face bitter rivals Lazio in the quarter-finals on Wednesday. And Atalanta travel to AC Milan to play their cup quarter-final. Roma, now at the end of this weekend, are now in 8th place, but the table is very, very deceiving. They are only 4 points off 4th place, so despite Roma being 8th, they're 4 points off 4th. It's so close within the top half of the Serie A table. Atalanta move up 1 spot from where they were at the start of the game. They were 7th, but they've gone up to 6th with this point above Lazio on goal difference. So I think, to me, it seemed like a game that neither team wanted to lose. I don't think any of the two teams wanted to see the opposition team gain 3 points on them. So I think they both just settled for 1 each. That's what it seemed anyway, and that's what's happened. And it's 1-1 here at the Stadio Olimpico. That's how it's ended. There's another commentary coming tomorrow on the channel. It is Wigan against Manchester United in the FA Cup 3rd round, 8:15 kickoff UK time. Make sure you are here for that one. And next week's commentaries are going to be scheduled on the channel tonight. So keep an eye out so you know which games I will be covering next week, as we are well into 2024 now. And like I said at half-time, Champions League, Europa League, all the European football should be returning next month as well, as we get towards the business end of the season very soon. We're hitting the halfway point now, but that back end of the season comes around so quickly, and it should hopefully be a very exciting end to the footballing season in all leagues and all competitions. It always is, and that's why we love and watch football. Great commentary, mate. Not normally something I'd watch. Glad I did. Yeah, thank you very much. Great commentary, more views deserve. We've had a decent amount, to be fair. For a Sunday night, an Italian game, that second half, we had about 11-10 people, at one point. We had about 6 or 7 all the way through. For a Serie A game, I think we had a decent amount of people in. Obviously, more would have been nice, but I don't think it was bad for views tonight. So thanks to everyone who did view and stayed around, and hopefully you enjoyed. No goals in the second half, but my last 2 commentaries I did, there was no goals. I did Crystal Palace Everton on Thursday, and then did West Ham Brighton on Tuesday, and I had no goals. So at least I got 2 goals today, and we didn't get a winner though in the end. So 3 draws in a row for my commentaries, and let's just see what tomorrow brings with Wigan. Hoping to cause an upset against Manchester United. Wigan have never beaten. Wigan have only beaten Manchester United once on their head-to-head record. I think they've won 1 and lost 18 of the other games they've played against them. So that would be a real upset if Wigan can win that one. So make sure you're here tomorrow for that. And that is going to be the end of tonight's live commentary from the Serie A, where it's ended Roma 1, Atalanta 1. Like I said, if you have enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe. And before you go, be here tomorrow, 8:15 UK time kickoff. Wigan taking on Manchester United in the final 3rd round game in the FA Cup for this season. But here at the Stadio Olimpico, Atalanta took an early lead through 2 Coop Miners, but it was Dybala to equalise before half-time from their penalty spot. Both teams will move on, take a draw. They are still well within the top 4 spaces in the Serie A. Will either of the teams finish in the top 4? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, they are outside of the top 4, but they are well in the mix. And here at the Stadio Olimpico, it ends Roma 1, Atalanta 1.